Welcome to M&A Unpacked, the weekly show where we bring on experts in MSP M&A, case studies from those who have gone through or are going through the process, and top M&A and business minds to help you maximize the value of your MSP, whether you're buying, selling, or just trying to improve your business. Make sure to subscribe to the Kaseya YouTube channel so you know when each episode drops, and you can even save that M&A Unpacked playlist for easy access. So today I am joined by another returning guest, Mr. Justin Huffaker from Datamax. He is the Vice President of Strategic Technology. Justin, thanks for coming back to the show.
You bet. Good to be here, Mike.
And we got to see each other in person. Always a blast to do that, to meet people in real life. We ran into each other at DattoCon a few times. What were your takeaways, and how did you enjoy the show?
I loved the show and it was fantastic. And I really enjoy taking my team with me because there's so much more you can get out of this business based on the people that you meet and the relationships that you form. And it's just so helpful to know other people and to check in and see what people are doing and what's working. And you can share what's working for you. Absolutely fantastic. We are excited about the new product bundle that was announced at the show. The
Say a
Kaseya
user.
360, yeah, Kaseya 365 user. I mean, we're working through our pricing calculators now to incorporate all those things. We already had bought into a lot of those components, but now that they're bundled, it's very attractive and it helps us go to market more effectively. So that it was an exciting show. Great location. Enjoyed the way everything was put together, but just had a great time, Mike.
Yeah, it was yeah, a couple things there. Kaseya user 365 user was launched at the show. And if you remember, Kaseya 365 endpoint was launched at Connect IT in Vegas, and both of them have been such a massive hit. So glad to hear that you're enjoying it. Everybody at Kaseya works from top to bottom. We all work very hard on that. So everybody, from our perspective, it's great to hear that you are using it and enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, Miami's just a great location, as you said. Always fun to be there, except for the part where I got caught in a rainstorm. It
Does
was
it rain in Miami, Mike?
it it doesn't rain as much in Miami as it does in like, I'm used to up north where when it rains for days sometimes. Um, it rains in short spurts sometimes in Miami, when I've been there. I'm sure it rains all day too, but it rains heavily in these short spurts. And I just happened to be between the hotel I was staying at and the hotel the event was in. I was right in the middle, and there was really nowhere to hide from that storm. And I mean, it opened up. When I got in, I was literally drenched, like from head to toe. Took my jacket off. My shirt is all wet, and pants are all wet. It
Hmm.
took me 2 hours to dry off. Yeah, it was a rookie move being out. I took my chances. It was that kind of day. I knew the rain was there, but didn't know it was going to turn into hurricane level rain for 5 minutes.
Well, if it was on the Halloween, you could have showed up to the costume contest as a man who fell overboard.
Yep, exactly. So again, thank you for coming on, and to start off with, just educate us on who you are, remind us who Datamax is, and
Well, Datamax is a company that does business in several different areas. We're an office equipment provider, um, as well as an MSP. So we've got a pretty big footprint in the areas that we do business in. And we have 10 offices throughout North Texas, East Texas, and throughout the state of Arkansas. Our major locations are in the DFW area, Tyler, Texas, and Little Rock, Arkansas. But those are only three of our locations. Those are the three biggest. We have seven other locations in different spots throughout Texas and Arkansas. So This is Q4, obviously, and in the MSP business, of course, it's a contract focused business, so you're looking for recurring revenue that kind of levels out your revenue throughout the year. But Q4 is big for us. There's always a big push in Q4 to bring in new contracts, to get equipment refreshes completed, to engage with new customers, because not only do you want to close Q4 strong, but you want to set yourself up for a very strong start to 2025.
So, yeah, bring us up to speed on what's been happening in Datamax from M&A perspective.
Well, we've been working on making connections. We have a list of companies that we have preliminarily identified as being a good fit, someone that we want to talk to. They're in the right size, they're in the right geography, they appear to be stable, they've been in business for a while, and we've been going out and meeting with those folks. Now, one of the hallmarks of the way that we develop relationships, because this is all very much a relationship driven business, is we'll go out and we'll knock on somebody's door. Calling is fine, emailing is fine, but if we're in the area and we know where the business is, I'm just as likely to take business cards and jump in the car and go knock on the door and introduce myself and start the conversation that way. That's frankly one of my favorite ways. I'm kind of a relationship person anyway, and you get a chance to meet people face to face. So we've had really good conversations, looking at candidates, adding people to the possibilities list of folks that are in consideration for taking the next step.
That's good. It's great. I love that approach. I mean, it is a relationship business, and when you're buying somebody, you're kind of, unless you're just buying them and everybody leaves, which is rarely ever the case, you have to have an ongoing relationship. So I love that you do that.
Absolutely. It works well for us because, these are people that you're going to be working with. And like you said, you don't want everybody to turn over in the company. You want people to stay with us. One of the things we talked about the last time was the Little Blue Book. And the Little Blue Book is the Datamax commitment to employee culture. And it talks about all the things that we commit to do, that we're going to treat each other in a certain way, and we're going to hear each other, and we're going to give each other the chance to be seen and to have an opinion. And so culture is really, really important to us. When we're looking at other companies, we want to make sure that it's a really good fit for who Datamax is and who they are.
And that's a good segue into asking you to just remind folks what does acquisition look like once you guys, like, how do you integrate? What's life like after the acquisition for both companies?
Well, one of the first things we do is we get to know each other. We make sure that we're integrated, that we're working well together. We start to look at tools. We start to look at processes. We start to look at the customer engagement model. One of our strengths is what we call partnership reviews. If you go to Gary Pica's meetings at these conferences, advice that he regularly gives the MSP community is to do quarterly business reviews. And funny thing, a lot of folks don't do that, but that's something that we are committed to. So it's one of the first things that we work with other companies on doing. Here's how we do quarterly business reviews. Now, again, in our case, we call them partnership reviews, but we have an entire process, and we have team members dedicated to putting those partnership reviews together so that we can go sit down face to face with our customers, find out how we're doing, how they're doing, what are they looking to accomplish in the short term, 3 to 6 months? What are they trying to accomplish in the long term, 6 to 18 months? Is there anything we need to be aware of? Are they looking at acquisitions? Are they looking at new offices? And only after we've renewed the relationship, we've refreshed everything, and we understand what they're doing as a business, then we go into how is our service for you? And we look at key benchmarks like tickets processed. We look at refresh that they need to budget for, those kinds of technical housekeeping things.
What remind me again what your area is like? Where is in the country, in the world, or wherever, or in your local area? Where are you acquiring or looking to acquire?
We're looking to acquire in the DFW area and in the Little Rock area. Now, we'll go in a radius around those, but when I do acquisitions, I like to be able to drive and sit with people. I don't want to have to get on a plane and fly somewhere. I want to be able to drive and sit down with people. I want to be able to take people to lunch. I want, it's holiday season. We have holiday parties. I like to go to the holiday party and socialize because again, it comes back to the importance of relationships and culture. And we want to, if we're making an investment in someone, we want to value and treasure that investment. And that's part of the way we do that.
Love it. So, what are you hearing? Being part of the M&A community, um, I assume you talk to other, you probably talk to other buyers as well, right? What are you hearing?
Well, you know, it's taking longer. It's taking longer, especially if you don't have a relationship. I attended the first day of DattoCon, which was all about mergers and acquisitions. And that was a lot of the comments that people were making out there is all of the people who were pretty much ready to sell have already sold. And now it's boiling down to making sure that you know the people that you're talking to, that you have a relationship, and those relationships take time, which is fine for us because we don't want to rush into something and then have it be a bad fit. So that's why the relationship approach works so well for us. As I mentioned, I'd rather go knock on somebody's door and introduce myself with a handshake face to face than call somebody on the phone. And that's what we're seeing. And that's what I'm hearing from other folks as well, is that if they're taking a little more time to do some due diligence, to get to know the folks that they are considering candidates for their acquisition team. And that's what I heard.
Awesome. I'd love to hear more feedback from you. We put on the M&A Symposium, and by we, obviously, I'm with Kaseya, but my group, led by Frank DiBenedetto, who is really the brains behind the M&A Symposium here. So would love to hear your takeaways, your feedback, what you liked, what you didn't like. Because we're always looking for feedback to improve. Frank is really meticulous in how he puts these events together. He's bent on making sure that you guys get a great experience from coming to it. So
I tell you, the M&A Symposium, speaking for myself, is fantastic. It We have our own metric for how do we evaluate a company. Now, frankly, it comes from we've done acquisitions on the office equipment side of our business, and we've done MSP acquisitions. So there's kind of different metrics that we look at. But when you have some of the other companies on stage talking about their evaluation criteria, it helps you take a look at your methodology and figure out, hey, I hadn't considered that. That would be a good metric to look at. And, I find those things to be very valuable from an educational perspective. In fact, I sat right next to one of the folks that we've been talking to in that meeting and developing a relationship with. And I can't say enough about that company that we've met through part of our getting out and knocking on doors. Just first class team, first class gentleman. And I think he enjoyed the M&A Symposium as well. So it's good to have both parties being educated about what people can do to increase their valuations. And it's good for companies who are looking to purchase to look at their checklist and make sure that they haven't missed anything, because you want it to be a good experience for both parties.
love it. Thanks for sharing that. Very, very kind of you, and to say those nice things. And we appreciate your feedback, and we love that you're there. Again, it was great to meet you and your team. I could tell by meeting your team, you guys have I can feel the culture in the company. So it's you're not lying when you say that you guys have a great culture.
Well, I mentioned to you that I've been with Datamax 26 years. One of the guys that I introduced to you has been with the company 27 years. I
Yeah.
think I tease him all the time. I think he was born at Datamax.
Yeah, it was great talking to him. So based on what you're seeing, you had said it's taking longer for deals. I mean, what you're talking to a community here of sellers and potential buyers, what advice would you give to them today going into 2025?
Well, I like to look for similarities in the way we do business. For example, the Q4 is a time for Datamax where we're looking to close business, not only to finish the year strong, but to go into 2025 with a so-called head of steam, to use a sports analogy, to get the year started off strong. And one of the things that we are absolutely committed to doing is putting together a business plan. So right now, all of the divisions, all of the departments inside of Datamax are working to figure out. We're looking at the business plan that we completed for 2024. We're being really introspective about what works, what doesn't work, and we're putting our plan together for 2025. And then in the first part of December, we share those plans. We'll share them in Texas in 1 week. We'll go to Arkansas and share them in Arkansas the next week. So when I'm looking at companies, I want to find out, how do they plan their business? Are they flying by the seat of their pants? Do they invest in marketing campaigns? Do they do strategic planning? Have they identified a target market that they're going to sell to? What are their plans for growth? Because when we acquire a company, not only do we want to acquire a good solid team and a good solid account base, but we want to acquire people who already have a growth mindset and know how they're going about that. And then that just adds to what we're doing. And it's fantastic when you can find that kind of.
Yeah, and what do you suggest folks do if there's all different folks of all different sizes listening to this, but I know we get a lot of folks who are smaller MSPs. They're maybe anywhere from one to five people. They're maybe 1 million to 2 million, or even under 1 million, and they might not have as big of a team as Datamax has, right? They don't have the extra level of expertise in the company, and the owner's thinking, I'd really like to get my stuff together and maybe think about selling, but I don't even know where to start. Any specific advice on how they can climb that mountain?
Well, I'll echo what was said at the M&A symposium. And the one bit of advice that's given to every company that's interested in selling is pay attention to your financials. What does your bottom line look like? You've got to have good, healthy financials if you're going to command the kind of return that you're expecting, because ultimately, these are business people that are evaluating your business. People aren't going to make a buy based on emotion or what you think you can do. It's going to be based on, what are you doing and how does it look? So fix your financials. It's nice to have a plan, and even the smallest company can put together a plan. Here's my plan for 2025. This is what I'm going to do. This is, I'm going to engage in the Gary Pica peer groups, True Peer. I'm going to take advantage of Powered Services Pro. I'm going to buy into some marketing so I can market my company. Have have a plan for growth, visualize where you want to be, and then put the plan together to get you there. And then, that will help someone like me who's out there knocking on your door, looking to meet you, get a good impression and get things off on the right foot.
Love it. Solid advice. Well, thanks for coming back. I expect you to come back a third time. Maybe we would do this once a quarter. It's always great to reconnect with you. Hopefully, I'll see you at another event. Before we go, I know you've already touched on this, but we always leave off with letting you take the floor. and talk about who you want to maybe schedule a meeting with you and how they can get in touch with you.
Well, anybody that's in the North Texas area, primarily DFW, if you are interested in having a conversation about selling your MSP business, then we're interested in talking. Ideally, we're looking for companies that are between 5 employees and 20 employees, but we're flexible based on the size there. And you know, you can reach out to me directly. We have a website, datamaxtexas.com. Of course, my contact information is on that website. You can find me on LinkedIn, but we're also looking in Arkansas as well. And, our anchor location in Arkansas is Little Rock, and the same kind of target profile we're looking for, 5 to 20 employees. Reach out. If you're a little smaller, a little bigger, we're still interested in having the conversation, but I give you those numbers just to provide a general guideline. And reach out to me directly, and I'll be happy to join you for lunch. I'll pick up the check. I can make you that promise right now. And if nothing else, we will at least have started a relationship and had a conversation, which is a great first step.
So, well, thank you very much. And I'll put the contact information in the YouTube show notes. So depending on where you're listening or watching this, you can get to YouTube. And can't thank you enough, Justin, for taking the time out of your very busy day to share with the MSP community. And for everyone watching, thank you. And tune in every Monday on the Kaseya YouTube channel for another episode of M&A Unpacked. And if you're not yet a member of the M&A Concierge platform for MSPs, make sure to apply today. It's an amazing platform and is 100% free for both buyers and sellers. See you next time, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.